Hi, ladies. I was just reflecting, with it being Women's Day, um, on what it is that really makes us beautiful. The whole day I've been thinking about my journey, and I stumbled across this quote that I actually shared last year on Facebook. And it says, "Silly girl, your different was your beautiful all along." And for me, that spoke volumes to me. And I had flashbacks when I read this. Flashbacks of me as a little girl, and I don't know if any of you who know me will remember, but I have really curly, bushy, brown, wildly curly hair, and I just remember me standing, staring at the mirror and pulling, tugging on my hair to try and make it straight. And I remember looking in the mirror and sucking in my tummy and trying to make myself look thinner. And I remember looking in the mirror and smiling and practicing my smile and never really loving it. And I remember going to school and doing those awful school photos and standing in rows for your school class and always being the tall girl who stuck out right at the top. And right through school, it seemed to get worse and worse, actually. Every school photo, I was another few centimeters taller than everybody else. And it really, really bothered me. And a lot of my pictures, I'm hunching. And even in my wedding pictures, my husband's the same height as me. And I'm kind of hunching up a little bit to try and be his height. Nobody else would have noticed. But it was something that bothered me immeasurably, and it actually occupied so much of my thought space in that day, when that's not really what I should have been thinking about. There should have been so much other stuff that I was finding joy in. And as I've got older, I've really struggled, to be honest, with a lot of anxiety. I struggle so much with social anxiety in a social setting, and that might be not something that everybody knows. I'm a bit of a juxtaposition of shy and confident, geeky as all heck, quiet but very outspoken, somebody with a lot to say. And so I don't think people always realize that that's how I feel on the inside. And sometimes those two opposing things come out all at once. And the many words, along with the awkwardness, sometimes mean that I'm sitting with my foot stuck in my mouth because I've just said something that's complete gibberish, and I might be perceived as possibly quite quirky, which, in all honesty, I kind of am. And I suppose what I'm getting at is that we're all anxious in some way or another. And this hyper focus on perfection, wanting to fix every kink, straighten every bit of fuzz, and fix everything that's imperfect in us, doesn't really help us be more happy. And when we fix the one thing we dislike, we find the next thing to be unhappy about. So happiness truly comes from the inside. And I'll be honest with you, my walk with overcoming anxiety is an ongoing thing. Some days I'm winning the battle, and other days I'm really not. And I find myself in a leadership role more times than I care to, and I have to constantly fight to overcome and to push through and to not show the complete turmoil that's happening on the inside. And I don't think I'm alone in that. I think that's something that a lot of us share. Um, But the growth and the change happened when I started to come to terms with the kinks and the quirks. Some of them I still haven't. I mean, my battle with my frizz is clearly an ongoing one. But in terms of my general anxiety, what I've found is that as I've started to feel more comfortable in my own skin, as I started to realize that actually there are unique gifts that have been put inside me that are different, that might not look like the next person, that might be tall and slightly geeky with crazy frizzy hair, but that are there because they're meant to be there. And fighting them doesn't help anything. And so I might never win the battle of the frizz. But each day I'm learning to love myself a little more. And that starts with really, first of all, the inward battle, the battle of the mind, and overcoming my own thoughts about myself. And there are days when I'm so tired and I give in and I spiral into a ball of negative energy and want to just reflect inward and hide away from the world. But those days are becoming less and less. And that is because, I suppose, I find myself blossoming into not the person that I want to be, but the person who I was originally created to be. I'm just learning to embrace the quirks and maybe just smooth over the rough edges that I've sort of created along the way. And by that, I mean, we all put up defenses. We all hide behind walls in order to protect our hearts. And it's very hard to be vulnerable. And I guess that's also normal. And those walls do come down with time. If you're on a journey to healing, it's not healthy for them to stay up. And it's certainly not God's intention for us. He does desire that we stay connected and we stay open and that we serve a function. And that function is to love, and to love wholeheartedly, not love gently from a place of passivity or from a place of not wanting to be seen, but to love fiercely. And he's put that kind of fierce love inside of every one of us. And it's our inhibitions and that self-talk that says you're not enough, and that hyper focus on every little quirk and kink that we don't love, that stops us from doing just that. So I wanted to encourage you to look in the mirror, embrace the frizz, embrace the flab. You may not ever get rid of it. I'm not saying don't try, but you may not. And in the meantime, while you're waiting for your perfect, you could be living the most beautiful life where you're embracing your imperfections and in the process helping others embrace theirs. And as you open up like a flower, so you find others blooming all around you, because they're all of a sudden quite comfortable with their quirky when they can see that you're comfortable with yours. So friends, girls, try not to beat the frizz, but certainly beat those thoughts that tell you that you're not worthy. You are beautiful, and your difference and your uniqueness is what makes you stand out. Don't try and lose the things God has put in you to make you, you. Happy Women's Day.